Hey y'all! Alright, today's video is going to cover all of the things about bloating, digestion, what could be causing these problems, and kind of our tactics on handling this with clients. So, first and foremost, I want to just say this, and I know it might sound like, okay Lauren, seriously, but this is a real thing. A lot of people, I believe, think that they're going to eat a full day's worth of food, drink full day's worth of water, and then at the end of the night they're going to look exactly how they look when they woke up. And I'm just here to tell you that that's probably never going to happen. That does not mean that you have bad digestion. That does not mean that you are bloated. That means that you've eaten a full day's worth of food and drank a full day's worth of water. When you wake up, obviously you're pretty tight, pretty dry, and people like that, right? And then you wake up and then you start eating and you're like, oh my God, I don't look like that anymore. Well, newsflash, unless you're eating like 5 calories and not drinking any water, you're gonna look a lot different as the day goes on. And there's 2 times that this really makes a difference. So obviously if you're eating more food, that's going to be in an off-season period and really kind of pushing calories. That's especially going to be true. But even, interestingly enough, as you're getting leaner, there are periods I find that when you are dieting and you are kind of going through these, I guess, adaptations of getting leaner, you look better and then worse and better and then worse, like literally every hour. So that can change a lot too. So if you're in either of those situations, it's going to change. Now, if you are just kind of at maintenance and you're eating the same food every day and you're very, very consistent, you're going to see obviously less bloating and less distension maybe than if you're not. But in general, just knowing that you're going to, first of all, feel like there's food in your stomach. When you wake up, you feel pretty empty, right? And then as you eat throughout the day, you're going to feel fuller. So sometimes it doesn't even look different. It just feels different to you, the individual. So I know that can be hard to distinguish for people, but I think it is really important to touch on that first and foremost. Just wanted to put that out there. So at the end of the night, if you are feeling bigger than you were in the morning, that is 100% normal. Now, if there are drastic changes with your bloating, with your digestion, okay, what are we going to look at? So first thing that I have clients do as soon as they tell me, oh, I'm having these problems, food log. You got to journal what you're eating, journal your responses. So a lot of times we eat stuff and we kind of just like forget what the hell happened earlier that day. I mean, like, let's be honest. So what I have people do is, okay, like when you eat a meal, write down what you ate. And then if you have any, issues from that, right? You feel really good, you feel really bad, kind of no changes, whatever. And then you can basically, as the weeks go on and you do this, you can start to take note and pick up on patterns, like what is actually going on. Because somebody just saying, oh, well, it must be this intolerance is so wrong. It's not even funny. Like I nowadays it's so I guess popular, I don't know, to have for people just to eliminate foods. And while that can be helpful for some people, it's not necessary for everybody. So first and foremost, do a hardcore food journal. Okay, I know this is annoying, but if you are very serious about changing your digestive behaviors, you need to do this, right? Because any kind of elimination diet or anything else that you're going to be doing is going to be extreme as well. So if you can't take the time to journal your responses, well, you're just making excuses, just being super honest. So if you're having issues, that's what you need to do. You need to journal how you're feeling and take note of that for the next few weeks, and see patterns, see trends. Oh, I didn't drink enough water. Oh, I had this food, and every time I ate this food, this is how I felt. Or, oh, my stomach was great, and then only when these types of things happened at work, I started to bloat. So a huge thing that people don't take into consideration is how much water that they're drinking. That affects hydration affects bloating and distension so much, as well as just normal bowel movements. So if your body is dehydrated or you're very irregular or you are having some issues, I always just tell people, hey, just bump up your water a little bit and let's see how that helps. Because everybody's water that they need per individual is going to be very different. But when in doubt, if you're having some digestive problems, just bump up your water a little bit, maybe 20%. Not anything astronomical. Don't go from 1 gallon to 3. That's not necessary. But just bumping it up a little bit can be really, really helpful. So, and that's so simple. That's like a shaker bottle's worth, right? Just down that and, obviously take it, you know, slowly up, see what feels better. But that is a huge thing for people, is properly hydrating, getting enough sleep. If you are chronically sleep deprived, you're going to be in a more sympathetic state. Likewise, if you're constantly stressed out and you're not handling life stressors well, you're going to be in a more sympathetic state. When you're in a sympathetic state, your body is not thinking about going to the bathroom and digesting your food. It's not. So in order to get to a parasympathetic state, which is the rest and digest state that everybody knows about, you need to be more relaxed. So you need to have proper sleep. You need to breathe properly. You need to learn how to handle your stressors better. And I did a video all on stress perception a few videos back. It's like this weird thumbnail. I'm like grabbing my hair. So if you see that one, that's what it is. If I look crazy in the thumbnail, that's the one. And it's this really, really important topic that I've been touching on with so many people now. Because to be super honest, outside of, okay, are we drinking enough water? Are we journaling food responses? Are we taking the proper supplementation? You know, once we correct all these things, people are still having food problems. And so much of this is related to your brain and your mental state, especially how you think about food and also how you handle life stressors. So it's kind of like the brain and the gut talk. So if you're telling it like, oh, this food or this situation is stressing me out, your gut is going to think that it is not, like, it's gonna, oh, what is this? I don't want to digest it. This is a foreign object. This is bad, right? If I'm mentally thinking that it's bad, and there's this huge disconnect. And obviously it's a lot more complicated than that. But there is such a connect and overlap with the brain and the gut that we cannot ignore. So you really need to make sure that you're getting your stress perception under control with life, work, all those kinds of things, but also how you look at food. Because if you're having these weird food aversions, and it is because you have now told yourself that you either shouldn't be eating this, or something like that. Our mind is so powerful, you guys. Like, people really just don't realize that, and they really underestimate. In my estimation, they really underestimate how important the mind truly is. And then, so if you are food journaling though, and you know, you've left your water, you're food journaling, and you're kind of just seeing, and you've gotten your stressors under control, and you're starting to see these patterns of food, okay, that's kind of when you go, okay, maybe there's something to it. Maybe I am not responding well to this food. And a lot of times this happens when people have maybe cut out a food for a while, and then they add it back in, or they add it in like too much all at once. That can be a huge issue as far as digestibility, because every food requires different enzymes to digest. So if you're eating only a small amount of foods, not food like literally, but like just small amount of food groups, and then all of a sudden you start adding these other ones in, that can be very taxing on your stomach. So look at that. Oh, hey, did I add in this one food that is now causing me all this distress? Or am I just having this weird reaction? So I am obviously no gut specialist. Do not pretend to be one on YouTube or to any of my clients. So these are really simple things that you can do for yourself, working with a coach. If you are a coach listening, these are things that you can do. And then if you do happen to see issues repeated over and over and over again, that's when you have to refer out. Hey, I think that you might need to go get these tests done. I think you might need to go see a gastric specialist. I think you might need to go see a functional medicine doctor. I think you might need to get a SIBO breath test. You know, so you don't just jump to those conclusions though, right? Like you can modify it easily. You sleep better, you get more water, and you start to manage your stressors, and you see like 2 foods that bother you a lot. Okay, super easy. But if it's a lot more complex than that, you may need to refer out. And then lastly, proper supplementation. So this, everybody knows, I love my OptiGreens. And OptiGreens has a full variety of micronutrients from a ton of different fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables. And then they also have a digestive enzyme blend as well as a probiotic blend. So some people can't have any of that. For majority of people, they'll be able to take this product. It's an all-encompassing product, and they will feel better, less bloating, better digestion, better gut health. Now, outside of that, you can also take digestive enzymes. You can take a kind of GI, gut lining kind of building supplement. They make those as well. First Form makes them. Other companies make them as well. First Form's is called GI Advantage if you guys are interested. We also have digestive enzymes now too, that you can take in addition if you're having maybe like a bigger meal or something like that. So starting with simple over-the-counter things like that are going to be really, really valuable. Glutamine is another really great supplement for the gut lining. And that's a lot of times what's happening. So basically, Again, not trying to pretend to be a specialist here, but there is something known as leaky gut syndrome. And I say that in air quotes because it's one of these things that we know enough about, but we haven't pinpointed it yet in science, but there's too much to ignore it, right? So basically, just think about your gut lining is not as tight as it should be. So now it's more porous and open. So things are coming in where they shouldn't be, right? So that is a very, very simplistic view of, leaky gut syndrome, but essentially that can happen, right? So if you are looking at supplements that are going to build up that gut lining, that's why those would be helpful, right? So again, always trying to look for, identify what are the problems, identify what are your triggers, start with, kind of over-the-counter natural things as you can. And then if you have to go and refer out to a specialist, that might be the case. But normal, average bloating, as far as, just day-to-day stuff, you can manage that so easily with what I just talked about in this video. So really hope this was helpful. I get so many questions about this from clients and just people in general through social media and on here on YouTube. So hope that cleared up for you guys. Start there. All those tips, drink more. First, food journal, start looking at trends, drink more water, sleep better, sleep more and sleep better, find proper supplementation for you and your gut needs that are over-the-counter natural stuff. And then lastly, if you need to kind of, you notice a food or you notice a trend, maybe take that out, see how you respond. Lastly, manage your stressors better with life, business, personal stuff. All of that goes together. Also, how you view food, your food perception is super important. After you've done all of those things, if there are still lots of problems that you're experiencing, that's when you kind of go and say, okay, I need to refer out, I need to go to a specialist. And that's going to depend on your area, going to depend on the doctors. And yeah, so I wish you guys all the best, because bloating and stomach distension and things like that are no fun, but I really think these tips will help you have a better, healthier gut and less bloat overall. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed this, leave me a comment. Let me know if you have any questions, of course, on this topic, and I would love to help if I can. If you are not already subscribed to the Team Loco Fit newsletter, you should be doing that, because we have an amazing newsletter that has 2 newsletters a week. One, you get a free Metcon in your inbox every Sunday night, Metcon Monday. And then on Wednesdays, we have an educational article that goes out as well with one of the 5 coaches on Team Loco Fit. So teamlocofit.com, at the top there's a subscribe button. You can go there. And then if you are interested in applying for coaching, you can learn all about that there and fill out our application on the website as well.